Hey yo, what is up guys? Thank you once again for clicking on this video, and today I'm going to be tearing some shit apart. So if any of you follow me on my Instagram, you will see that I recently blew up another engine, and that makes engine number 9. So I don't know what it is about me and Subaru engines, but we just don't get along. And if we walk over here, you can see it's been raining a little bit, got some water in there. But there is another hole in another engine of something that I've blown up, and look, I didn't even pull all the pieces out. Blowing all these Subaru engines is really pissing me off. I don't want to build one. I know people have done it and spent a lot of money and didn't make a lot of power, and I do not want to be that guy. So if you see my Subaru here, I have it in my other garage. I moved my dad's Camaro out to put my Subaru in here because it's going to be torn down for quite a while for this project I'm finna partake in. So anyways, if we see here, we can see that I have everything completely torn apart, bumpers, fenders, yada yada. And if we come over here, this is what today's video is going to be about. So if you look back there, you will see my entire interior because I have torn it all out. Everything is out, and even the pedal assembly. I'll get to that later. But what the plan is to tear the entire engine harness out and go through it plug by plug, wire by wire, to take everything that I do not need anymore out. So this right here is the main thing that I'm taking out. This is my stock ECU harness, and you can see I had it taped up because it was literally just hanging down right by the passenger feet because I had my Haltech 550 Elite in there, and this is the entire harness for that. There's only a few wires that actually didn't go into the engine bay, and since I had that, I had the stock ECU wiring just sitting there. So I do not need any of these wires anymore. You can see that's a solid chunk, lots of plugs. So what I'm going to be doing is following all those wires back and taking them completely out of the harness. You can see the little box right there. That is my cruise control module, which hasn't worked in years. So I'll be taking all that out. Another big thing is my ABS. I'm going to be doing an ABS delete since this doesn't work, and even if I were to try to make it work, I have no idea how to do that, nor do I really think it's worth it. So I'm going to be redoing all the brake lines and just make it without ABS, and there's a big solid harness for that as well. So I'm going to be going through everything, tearing it all out, making this look way better. So now the next step is to continue backwards. I have the entire harness from here forward out. Just need to take the carpet out so I can take that out and get the rest of everything off and go through it. It's going to be a tedious process. And if you're wondering why I have my pedal assembly torn out as well, it is because it was a stock cable clutch. So you can see it was this little tiny clutch cable. This went on the pedal, and this other part went on my clutch fork, and you can see I had to rig it up to get it to work. And I've blown through 4 of these because they just stretch over time. They don't work very well. But if we look over here, I got a parts car, and I was able to take the hydraulic clutch pedal assembly, and I'm going to be incorporating that to do this swap that I'm finna partake in. One thing I love about Subarus is that they kind of have the same chassis throughout the years. So that is actually out of a 2007 WRX. And if we look right here, this was a little rubber grommet that just kind of stuck right there. I shoved some wires through there over time, but if you take that off, then that's the exact same bolt holes for the master or cylinder for the clutch. So I just took this little piece off and already mocked it up, and it fit perfectly in there. So I will be able to use that and have a hydraulic clutch now instead, because that cable one, I did not like the feel of it. So now I'll be able to do that, and it'll help with my swap later on as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the B-rolls. I think that's what it means when I just show a montage, but let's get into that. And afterwards, at the end of the video, I will explain what is this amazing swap that I am partaking in. All right, so below me, I guess you can say, I have the entire chassis, body harness, engine harness, literally every single wire that isn't plugged into something already. I have everything out. I did leave some plugs in, like the hatch and ceiling roof wiring. I left all that. I just unplugged it from the bottom because I know I'm going to end up keeping that, so I don't need to tear the whole thing out of it and whatnot. But now starts the tedious and scary task. So it's been about an hour now. That is what I've gotten off. I've worked my way from the plug all the way down, and I've only got this far. So I just got past the grommet that actually goes inside the driver's side door. And kind of what I figured out is, if you're wondering, this little blue plug right here is what the ABS connects to then pass through. So I could have unplugged that and then pulled it all out, but the wires were kind of wrapped around each other, so I had to cut them a couple times just so I was able to untangle them. All right, another hour has gone by, and I got the two front sensors. So this is the grommet that goes on the passenger side, and you can see it has the AC accumulator, wiper, windshield wiper motor. So that's right there, and then this one crosses over to the other side. So you got the starter signal wire, what is that, master cylinder sensor, all that other stuff. So if I want to follow that, I can get all the way to the rear ABS sensors. Like I said, I may wait on that, but now is this. So like I said, this is my ECU plugs and everything. I don't even know what half this stuff goes to. That's a O2 sensor. These all plugged into the ECU. These two chunky ones plugged into the engine harness that you know, went to the engine, so you could unplug those and pull the engine and whatnot. Transmission sensors, so all these came off the transmission, so I can definitely take these out. I'm just scared. I don't want to take something all the way out and then have it be something that I actually needed, you know, like a signal switch or a 12-volt switch or fuel pump relay or whatever. So I just want to make sure Speaking of fuel pump, this one's actually plugged into my fuel pump. I did it off the Haltech. I took it off the Haltech, and this was actually the sensor that came to the fuel pump. So like, let's say I were to follow that wire all the way down, then I'd take out the whole fuel pump sensor, you know, and then have to rewire that. So there is some strategy when doing this, and I don't exactly know how I'm going to accomplish this, but this is the next step in the process. So that's everything I've taken off. That's all the loom material. I got that big chunk of wires that I said was hanging down there all out. I'm just really concerned that I might have taken off too much, but like I said, none of that was plugged into anything. But I don't know if anything was branched over to give it power, because there's a lot of these little conjunctions, as you can see. I'm pretty positive this is a ground. You can see there's ones that come off of it, this one too. There's even this big chunky boy somewhere. There's with all these thick yellow wires. I just really hope that I didn't take too much off, but there's really no telling until I throw everything back in there to find out. But alright guys, it is now a new day, new hair, and new helper. So we got quite a bit knocked out yesterday, or I got quite a bit knocked out yesterday. You can see there's our little pile I ended the day with the loom. OBD2 port removed, every single ECU wire, cruise control box. And now the last thing to do is finish the ABS, and I think I'm going to call it there. I'm scared to remove too much more. I think the rest of it will still be fine, but I'm pretty much just going to be working at the back of the harness. So like, that sensor will be removed, and then the 2 ABS sensors in the rear as well. And just like that, all the ABS stuff is removed, all the sensors, whatever this plug is, front and rear sensors, all removed. And I think I'm going to call it there as far as taking stuff out of the loom. So I filled this bin with all the wires and loom material, although it's not going to be a 100% because I am going to add a little bit of loom back on there. But I wanted to weigh this just to kind of see how much weight we just took out in wires. $187 exactly. Damn.
Why don't you just put on this?
Oh. Yeah, that works too. 16.4 pounds. Alright, so now that it's the end of the video, I guess I'll tell you a little about my swap. Before I get to that though, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with the harness just yet. I don't know if I'm ready to put it back in or not. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but I'll probably put that little segment in the next video I make. But anyways, let's get down to this swap though, alright? So the swap that I'm doing, it technically has been done before in this exact chassis as well, which is a GF4 hatchback wagon Impreza first gen. And then there's another YouTube channel, which is also my most favorite YouTube channel out there, who has done it in a newer Subaru. And that's really what I got my inspiration from, because I definitely wanted to do an engine swap in my Subaru, but I wasn't sure which engine to go with. Everyone's always like, LS swap it, Coyote swap it, yada yada. But I'm not an American muscle lover, and I'm also, you know, I like 4 cylinders. They're easy to work on, parts are cheaper, and they're less common to do a swap in. You know, like, who's gonna 4-cylinder swap something to expect big power? So that was another reason why I chose the route I chose. So I ended up buying the engine a little over a year ago. It's probably like a year and 3 months ago or something like that, that I actually bought the engine to start the swap. And it wasn't till a few weeks ago when I actually made the commitment to send the engine off, get it built, and start getting the parts together, everything ready to start doing the swap. And behind me, I actually have a couple parts that have arrived, And I'll tell you right now, the engine is in New Hampshire getting a CSS, cylinder support system, closed deck put in. And then from there, it's getting shipped to Humble Performance in Oklahoma to get a 700 horsepower build, which is, I think it's Trom rods and some other piston. I don't know, but it'll be rated for 700 horsepower, at least under their warranty. So that's the block side. And then before I tell you what block it is, I'm going to be having to buy a special adapter plate that'll go to a BMW ZF rear-wheel drive transmission, so my Subaru will become rear-wheel drive, and then from there it'll be going to a Nissan S13 S14 R200 differential, which I'm getting a custom tube rear subframe to fit that, and then I'm also just ordered a tube stock OEM mounted front subframe as well, just so it's easier to make the mounts for the engine that I chose. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but I also didn't plan on starting the swap until I had all the parts together, but I blew my engine and wanted to get an early start. So first thing to do is the harness. Second thing to do will be my brake line, since I am deleting ABS because it didn't work in the first place. So that'll probably be the next video where I do that. But like I said, I'm getting a jump on the swap just so everything can get even more ready. I'll have even more time to get my car in the condition I want it to be in. If you follow my Instagram, I've been posting about the engine and everything that I'll be doing to the car, and I get asked a lot, what is your plans for the build? Well, my plan is to have a stock interior looking street car. So I want the interior to be kind of nice, nothing over the top. I don't want a bunch of switches. I don't want no carpet, no door cards, no interior panels or anything like that. And then as far as the outside goes, I want to wide body it, make it look nice, and have a fun to drive, easy to drive. That was the big thing. My Subaru, in the condition it was, I fucking hated driving it. The no power steering sucked. All that was bad. It was loud, not very comfortable. So I want to get all that figured out as well. And then probably I'll do a little bit of drag strip racing with it. Nothing too, extreme, and also a little bit of drifting. Probably not much to where I'll get, my door dinged in from, tandeming or anything like that. But I just want to be able to do a little bit of everything, enter some car shows, win best of show, so I'll repainting the engine bay, getting everything cleaned up to look like a, SEMA style car that I'm building by myself in my garage, as far as the car body wise, all the electrical stuff, like the engine harness, engine itself, all that stuff is getting built elsewhere. But I will be welding my engine into my car and making it all work that way. But without further ado, I guess I'll tell y'all what engine I'm swapping into this. If you're a keen viewer, you will see that I have some engine parts back here. And that is a K20 Z3 head. I have a K24 A4 block getting built right now. I just had the head resurfaced and everything, and I did some DIY porting. I ended up blowing out my Dremel 3000, so I had to go and buy a Harbor Freight one with a little burr bit. You can see I had the sanding disc on it just now to try to smooth it out. And in this box right here is a 4-piston racing part, and in this box right here is a K-Power Industries part. Now, I don't want to claim that I'm the first person to do this, because I'm not, but I think I may be the first person to go the exact route I am as far as K-Series engine, BMW transmission, and S13 diff all in a Subaru. I don't know if it's been done before. A lot of people like to keep them all-wheel drive, but I'm not trying to, be a full-time drag racer or anything. It's not really my cup of tea. I really wanted to be able to drift it. That's the main thing. My girlfriend's MR2, whenever she lets me drive it, I get the rear end a little out there to have some fun and whatnot. So I think And that's another level to make my Subaru even more unique. You can have a completely stock OEM Subaru Impreza, and if you make it rear wheel drive, then you get a little bit of street cred points just in general for that. So especially if I do the route I'm doing, I think it'll be very unique. Not that I'm trying to be a clout god or clout chaser or anything. That's just, I like to make things as different from factory as they came. First things first, 4-piston box. As you can see, I have the K20 oil pump because the K24 oil pumps like to fuck up at around 8,000 RPMs, and this came with the baffle, and K24 kit is pretty much what you call it from 4-piston racing, and this is a ported K20 oil pump. So not only is it a better oil pump than the K24, but it's also ported. Next thing underneath that I've received is a K-Power Industries package, and if we look inside, you will see that I have the rear wheel drive K20 intake manifold. So if I were to try to use an OEM one, it would face the wrong way, which would be going towards my firewall. But since I got the rear wheel drive one, it'll face out towards the front end of my car, so I have all the space I need for a throttle body, charge piping later on. By the way, it is going to be turbo, but at first it's going to be NA just to kind of, you know, fine tune it and get it all ready before I make that next step. That way I don't dive into it trying to diagnose all these issues all at once. With all that being said though, I really don't know what I'm doing. This is definitely going to expand my mechanical knowledge. I've never done anything similar to this before. So I definitely want to document this for the future, just to kind of show, you know, other people that you can attempt to do something like this. Worst case scenario, I do have to take it somewhere, but I'm going to try as hard as I can to do everything myself. And I hope y'all are going to enjoy this series. It is going to be a slow process with my company. I work 21 to 28 days in a row, and then I have 2 weeks off, so it's going to be in little spurts, but that gives me time to make some money to afford this and to order parts and have them be arrived when I get back, so I can push the content out. I don't know if y'all have seen my other videos before, but I just bought a nice camera, a Canon G7X, to try to give y'all the best quality for this, so I really appreciate it if y'all would give me a like and subscribe. I post everything on my Instagram, so if you want to follow my 2 Instagrams, one's my personal, one's my you know, business-esque one, and then I also have a TikTok as well that I post on, more like funny shit and whatnot. But anyways guys, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. There wasn't really a resolution, but you are kind of seeing the process and how I'm going to be doing this. So anyways guys, I love y'all. Peace.